In Missouri, Republican Congressman Jason Smith, chairman of the House Ways and Means Committee. He plans to vote yes on the debt ceiling bill and says the House absolutely has the votes to pass it. Congressman, thank you for joining us. So as we learned, the Republicans, we've picked up actually a few more no votes. So it's going the wrong direction for your party. What are your thoughts on that?
It's definitely not going the wrong direction. It's everything that we expected. Anytime you have a bipartisan agreement, you're going to lose Republicans and Democrats because it'll be the ends of the agreement that vote no. But I mean, we have the votes to pass the bill. That's what's going to happen. No one can predict exactly how many Republicans or Democrats are going to vote for or against the bill, but we definitely have the overwhelming votes to pass the bill.
Yeah, and you move on to the Senate then, if you do have the votes, as you say, and it appears you're right, if you move on to the Senate, this thing could be held up in the Senate for a while. I mean, there could be a little bit of resistance there as well. What are your thoughts on going forward?
You know, the Senate definitely has different procedures, and that's the problem of President Biden waiting 100 days before he would even talk to Speaker McCarthy. That is why we're in the 11th hour, and that's why we're facing this timing crisis. But the House is going to finish our job. Once again, we're the only body that has increased the debt limit this Congress, and it's only been Republicans. We're going to pass a bill again today.
Yeah, and you've said a few times, Congressman, that this is what happens when Republicans stick together. Are you at least somewhat disappointed that Republicans seem to be splintering apart a little bit? From this weekend, you've still said that on Monday and yesterday. Are you a little bit disappointed that you've lost more of the caucus as time goes on?
Let's look where we started. More than half of the Republican conference, and that's 222 members, have never voted for a debt limit increase in their entire time in Congress, including the person you're talking to. My first debt limit increase that I've ever voted for in my 10 years in public office was in the Limit Save Grow Act. This will be the second, and the only reason why I'm voting for it is because it's a step in conservatism and common sense, much like what Speaker Newt Gingrich said in his op-ed the other day. This is only changes towards the positive. The other outcome would have been a blank check debt limit increase that Joe Biden and Chuck Schumer wanted, and we prevented that from happening.
You talk about conservatism and common sense. One of those people who believes they are a common sense conservative is Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. He hates the bill. Listen to him. Watch.
We now see Washington has now cooked up their latest, quote, debt deal. And I can tell you this, our nation was careening towards bankruptcy before the debt deal, and it will still be careening towards bankruptcy after this debt deal. This is greenlighting $4 trillion in new debt in less than 2 years. It took us almost 200 years to get to $4 trillion in debt in the first place.
What would you say to those who believe that this deal is a national albatross?
I would say read the 99 pages, because nowhere in the 99 pages does it say that it increases debt $4 trillion. All it does is set a date of when the debt limit expires. The debt will only be acquired by the appropriations that members of Congress will allow passage or not. For my first time in serving in Congress, we have work requirements that are going to be signed into law. This is the largest rescissions package in the history of the United States. In fact, 20 of the 99 pages of the bill rescind spending. That's something Ron DeSantis was never able to pass when he was a member of Congress.
Yeah, and I know there are spending caps on this, and that's one of the things that's been lauded by Republicans. But as I read the bill, and I read most of it, this does raise the debt limit to the tune of $4 trillion, and it could be as fast as in the next 2 years.
No, all that it does is set the date the debt limit is raised to. $4 trillion is a calculation that everyone is trying to project based on what they believe Congress will appropriate. But if Congress does not appropriate $4 trillion worth of debt, we're fine. The real fights in getting our fiscal house in order in the future is looking at our appropriations process. This bill requires all 12 appropriations bills to pass individually in the House and Senate. If it does not, you're going to see an automatic 1% deduction in spending from year to year.
What do you say to those who are now bringing up Speaker McCarthy's speakership and threatening and talking about some end-around moves?
The fact that you can threaten someone's speakership because you disagree with them on one policy, let me tell you, that's pretty ridiculous. But you talk to the American people. Speaker McCarthy is a fighter. He's working hard, and he's the only one that's been able to unify the conference. This bill that's being passed today is a stronger reduction in our debt crisis than anything that passed whenever the Republicans controlled the White House, the House, or the Senate. Nothing of this magnitude was ever passed. So you got to give it to Speaker McCarthy to getting this agreement when we only control half of 1/3 of government.
Missouri GOP Congressman Jason Smith, thank you for coming in, sir. We appreciate it.